All right, guys, welcome back. So today we're going to take a deep dive back into the brand new STZ and STX line of drivers from Mizuno, Matty.
Yeah.
We did spend some time with Vosh down at the PGA show on a pretty windy day. It always is a little windy down there.
It's always windy, isn't it?
Yeah, and we feel like we've not really done these drivers justice yet in the studio by going through an in-depth breakdown of this kind of journey, this evolution of driver tech. And it came thick and fast at us from the ST190, which was the first non-blue driver in a while.
And it was the first one we reviewed on the channel as a Mizuno driver, first one.
It really was. And the first time Mizuno woods caught really my attention, I'll be honest. And to use Mizuno's own words, all roads led to here, right? So every addition or iteration was a modification to take us further down the line, testing things like, you know, what started off as wave sole is now known as the Core-Tech chamber, which is this sort of stainless bar that's in here encased in TPU. And
it's kind of cool, eh?
Yeah, designed to kind of manipulate center of gravity, allow the face to flex but be, you know, obviously stable and reinforced in the same time to be able to deliver that speed where you want it out the front of the head. You don't want that speed being dispersed through the frame. You want that coming back out the front of the head. You know, they've upped the sort of the grade of titanium. They used to use a beta titanium 6.4. They now use a stronger you know, material, more elasticy material. Two heads, yeah. Z and X still. Z being the straight, fast, stable bomber driver. We were just debating which one's the player's driver and which one's not the player's driver. You could probably argue both ways, but I think the nature of the way the game has went in recent years, the bombers, the stable straight one has become the player's model.
For sure, especially because it's quite low spin.
Yeah, and that's what the Z line gives you. You see the carbon symmetry.
Yeah, this is different, right?
Yeah, so you've got the kind of, you know, equal amounts of carbon across the sole, whereas when you look at the STX, you see much more carbon in the toe, and they've retained more the heavier, more dense sort of titanium in there, pulling that CG towards the heel of the driver. We have interpreted it though, and I think it's right to do so, looking at the lie angle specs as well. It is a more upright driver. It is an easier driver to rotate, therefore we will probably put this more in terms of the player who's looking for more of a draw bias driver.
Yeah, probably get a little more elevation out of it as well.
Yeah,
and the person that needs to square the face.
Exactly. Someone who's kind of, you know, leaving that face open, blocking them, they're going to have a little bit more success with the STX in this line. And it's quite interesting, you know, even though the loft, you might start with more loft than STX because you have more rotation of the head, it will drive that dynamic loft down and actually give you better ball speed and some kind of lower spin numbers.
And we'll see that we've got 9.5 in the STZ and 10.5 in the STX, so we'll see that in action.
Let's see. Okay. So let's bomb a few with the bomber, STZ.
Hit it well, just left.
I was going to say that looks it's a long way in the air.
Yeah.
I mean, the shortest balls, well, at times the shortest ones can come out of the ones that drift left, but yeah, that was
good strike and everything. Yeah,
great strike.
It's a little more square.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons Mizuno drivers have always really suited you is that one right there.
Yeah.
Some drivers, when you start to turn them over, and you kind of has that look at it that like could fall out the air, and it just doesn't. Really quick as well, Matty. 177, great spin.
That's better. It's slightly higher of center, maybe slightly towed as well. Yeah, it's very stable, as advertised. Clanked it.
Quite similar to that first one.
Yeah. I mean, just a heel strike, to be honest. You can't complain about it, just be up the left side. It's nice too.
That's very good there.
I would say this has a lot of hook protection. Like I haven't hooked one even close. Stays at the left side beautifully. That wasn't a great strike either.
I love what I'm seeing in terms of the consistency across the face. Look at that.
That's a good point.
175, 77, 77, 77, 76. Spin super tight. So there's our kind of first 5. So I'd love to do a little set of 5 with now with the STX and do a little comparison, but that's 5 really, really good flights.
Yeah. Like that flight. I kind of like this thing. I know it's spinning a little. Like,
Yeah,
I know that's
a spin. Yeah.
I really don't mind that.
Spin, but with a little draw.
Yeah, which is different, isn't it?
It is different, yeah.
Okay, so
That's a beauty.
Yeah, I hit that high in the face.
Okay.
But it's just, I don't know, it's very...
Easier to turn over, isn't it?
It's just very simple, yeah. You can expect that left to right flight. It's very simple. It's very simple. You're right, it's very, so I think the STZ, it's not a knock on it, but I noticed when we were hitting the first few shots, it definitely wants to stay down the left side, which is great. But this one just wants to go a little left to center and then draw back.
This is great. Big difference in lie angle.
Yeah, it sits more upright, no doubt. It's not, I'll say this, it's not offensive. I wouldn't have guessed 5 degrees from the visual.
Well, 5 degrees is actually quite low, so the STZ was sitting
flat.
Pretty good for you.
That's a good point. So maybe that's why it was nice and slightly
down
left
that left side, down that left side. But I think if we look at the profile of the 2 drivers, and we look at these numbers, I mean, tiny dispersion with STX. A little bit more dispersion, but I mean, more output, more sort of potential out of STZ.
Agreed.
2 quite different drivers, and you know, to be honest, if I was an engineer over at Mizuno, I'd be pretty proud of our work right now. So for the player, I think, who's looking to maybe retain a little bit of spin.
Yes.
Now, bear in mind, these are a degree and a half different in loft as well.
Good point. This is a 10.5.
This is a 10.5, but you know, obviously the 10, and this is cool, 10.5 with a lower dynamic loft than a 9.5 because of face angle. And then obviously, you know, STG in the mix as well, 220G.
Still in
you know, it's still in there with the movable kind of weights. That's still an option if you really want something super low spin.
Yeah.
Because neither of these are super low spin, but they're just in the right window of spin.
I just think, I was talking to someone about this on the golf course, I just think when you watch PGA Tour golf especially, a lot of these guys are launching it around 10, 9.5, and they're spinning at 2,700.
Exactly.
There's not many of them going 12 and 2,000.
It's exactly what they're looking for right now is if you've got speed in the mid 170s, high 170s, you will sacrifice a little launch and a little spin. They know how to manipulate the numbers if they need to turn it around and launch up and spin down, and you know they've got enough control to do that. Yeah. But day in, day out, those numbers you just quoted are what they're looking for. Exactly right. You know, Mizuno have come so far in their driver designs and delivering it, and they've come so far. They're no longer in an annual cycle. They're in it every other year now. So more in keeping with like a Titleist or a Ping. They really believe what they have now is what they need to build, and they need, because they've come so far. They actually need more time. Every year is actually not long enough for them to kind of take these drivers forward now. So I think in actual fact, you will find, the consumer will find that in 2 years' time or a year and a half time, when we sit with Vosh and the team and we look at their new line, whatever it may be, I'm excited for it already, knowing that they've got a couple of years of development.
This almost feels like Mizuno's version of TSI. Like TSI was extremely good, and then 2 years went by and we weren't really sure what was going to go on, and TSR is also extremely good, maybe slightly better in our testing. I would be very, looking forward to 2 years more of this. But I mean, as it stands, this driver is as good as anything else.
It will stand up against anything.
In a fit, it's worth trying. I think it's, as you said, is it the super low spin driver? Fine, maybe not. But for anyone else that's looking for a stable ball flight, I mean, I really like that a lot.
I love it. Excellent, excellent stuff. Okay, guys, I always like to give more of the underdog brands in the woods. You can never call Mizuno an underbrand because they make, pound for pound as good of irons as anyone in the world. But now we kind of want you guys to recognise the work they're putting in the woods. The fairway woods, as we've tested many, many times, are amongst the best out there now. Really adjustable sleeve. The hybrids have been amongst the best for a long, long time. That little CLK and now into the ST are just, they're absolutely incredible. But we want the spotlight on the drivers. We think they merit being on the drivers, and we think you guys should definitely give it a mix when you're in a brand agnostic environment like ours, where you can test all brands against one another. Make sure you give it a try. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you again soon.